Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Relentless Transitions podcast, where we talk about life, business, and triumph. And boy, do we have a good one for you today. We are so excited today. We're going to be talking about a subject that is on the lips of everyone, and that is moving in silence. What? What am I talking about? Moving in silence. What we're going to talk about today is how you can effectively achieve your goals and not overshare information, especially on social media. What do you think about that, Ms. Roslyn?
I think this is a really interesting topic, given how we've the last, I don't know how long it's been, but we've become a culture of oversharing everything, like even to the point of taking a picture of my breakfast and posting it on social media. And so is this a backlash, a reaction to this oversharing culture that we've come? Maybe it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And today, oftentimes we hear stories about, people closing their accounts or shutting their accounts down or going on hiatus from whatever it is, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, because sometimes we share information and there are people out there who just choose to be unkind. And, it impacts our self esteem, sometimes our decisions or the way we move forward with achieving our goals. And today we're just going to talk about how to push through some of that. So if that sounds good to you, then stay tuned and we are going to go ahead and jump right on into it. So when we talk about moving in silence, Rosalind, what does that mean to you, or how has that impacted you in your life?
So I think I've always kind of moved in silence. I tend to be the type of person that likes to be prepared. I was joking with you before we started recording that Girl Guide motto is just so ingrained in me, and so I think for me that silent period before I make a decision and announce it to my partner or my children or whoever, um, is about kind of getting my ducks in a row and getting my head really in the space of what is it exactly that I want? How am I going to? I often don't actually know exactly how I'm going to achieve it, but I'll have some, basic ideas. And it gives me an opportunity to really reflect and mull it over and toss it around and make it the perfect fit for me and then announce it. And when I do that, I'm actually making that announcement with a lot of confidence. And so those naysayers that might be out there, like, why in the world would you want to do that? Why in the world would you want to become a life coach, at your age or whatever it is? Um, they're less likely to tear you down because you've spent some time in silent preparation and reflection.
Mhm.
So that's kind of what I feel about it. How about you?
You know what? I actually like, what you said about that. I like the fact that as you were going through your process, that you still actually proceed towards your goal. Because sometimes when you're operating in silence in that way and you're trying to just get complete clarity about something and you're analyzing it, for wanting to know everything about it, sometimes we can get analysis paralysis and just
Exactly.
not do anything. So, definitely being able to push through to reach our goals, I think that that is awesome. So for me, moving in silence now, I have not been the best at moving in silence. I've always been that person who wanted to, if I get a great idea and I think that something is going to be a great outcome for me, I want to bring everybody. I want them to get in on it to see if it will, be something rewarding for them. And then I want to bring my, my cheering club along to kind of push me along the way. But as I have, grown in business and just personally, what I have and become more self-aware, I understand that I am so ambitious. Since a little girl, I have always been ambitious. If I'm in class, with everything, if I'm in class, I need to make the A. I don't want to, just get the C. I need to make an A. And if I'm not getting the A, well, why? I'm analyzing why am I not getting, that A? And then, in work, when I became a nurse, I didn't go to the hospital and just work at the hospital on one unit. I probably worked in every area in the hospital, maybe minus two or three, and had many state nursing licenses and probably practiced in over 15 states across the US. So, I mean, I've just been that adventurous person. But, as I have just continued to grow, what I found, it was that the people who were around me, they weren't really quite as ambitious, and yes, they were happy for me, but as I continued to be ambitious and progress and have more and more successes, I did kind of bump into people, and we're all going to have those people, so that's not special to me. But I started to, run into people who maybe weren't so happy for me. Maybe there was some envy and jealousy. Maybe even there were some people trying to block me, and keep me from achieving my goals. So, and I can remember actually, believe it or not, I can believe it in nursing school, how one of my instructors actually had a large group of us in her office. And she told us, she said, listen, don't ever tell people. This is literally, I will never forget it. She said, don't tell people where you're going. She said, when they ask you, what are you doing? You are doing this. This is what you're doing. Don't tell them about what you're going to do after this. She said, because someone can always stand in your way and keep you from getting there. But once you're already there, there's nothing they can do about it. And that was a very, very valuable lesson. And I have, held that with me. And sometimes I try to think, oh, that's not true, but absolutely. Once you already have it, yeah. You have it. Yeah. So that's kind of been, so, I think that is, I always knew I was going to reach for my goals. And my grandmother used to always tell me, girl, when you set your mind to something, you are definitely going to achieve it. We just have to believe that, because I was always a go-getter in that way. But moving in silence sometimes, that's kind of how it has been for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think we've both talked about it a little bit, that sometimes the reasons for moving in silence have to do with external forces rather than what's in you. And it might be kind of against, especially somebody like you, it might be kind of against every gut feeling you have, because I've worked with you now for a while, and you get so excited about the projects you're working on that you're just like overflowing, gushing with excitement. So you see past all those naysayers, and just push forward, which is great, because sometimes all the reasons that we keep the silence and keep moving in silence has to do with what we think people are going to judge us for stating our goals and for being ambitious and that sort of thing. So it has less to do with, you not wanting to succeed at what you're thinking about, and more to do with your fear of what other people are going to say about you and about your ambitious. And if you let those things seep in under your skin, it's possible that you're going to let it take control, and you're going to back off. And it's a tough situation, though, because if you constantly move in silence, will you achieve your goals if you haven't actually stated them?
Mm. I mean, you know what? The way that I've actually chosen to handle that, and one thing I wanted to say about that though, before I talk about how I've handled that, Robert Kiyosaki, if I can quote someone, there's something that I read in one of his books, and he said, you know, your friends love you, you know, they love you, and they want good things for you, but the problem when it comes to success, if you are surpassing them, is that they don't want you to leave them behind.
Yeah.
And I add on to what he said, and I say, well, you know what? Sometimes we don't achieve our goals because we don't want to leave our friends behind.
Yeah.
They don't want us to leave them behind, and we don't want to leave them behind either. So sometimes, you know, we will kind of acquiesce and we will just stay in that same spot. But the way that I've chosen to handle that is to be constantly on the lookout for people who are going in the same direction. You know, there's nothing wrong with allowing friends and family members to be just who they are, friends and family members, and enjoy them totally to the fullest. But sometimes when we are trying to really take a leap, you know, and go somewhere really, really far and outside of our immediate circle, sometimes we have to create a new circle. You know, if you
Yeah.
really are wanting to go to, you know, a different place, then I mean, there are just different people at those places. I mean, you know, it's kind of like the same people who let me see buy the same people who buy their clothes at one location, they're not the same people who are buying their clothes at Saks Fifth Avenue, Lord and Taylor, Bloomingdale's. And I mean, it's just a different kind of group of people. Not that one group is better than the other, but it's just different people. So you have to position yourself to where you can be in those you know, in those other groups. But then also, I think that it's important so that you don't get eaten alive when you go into those other groups.
Yeah.
Is to really have, you know, take time in silence to decide, well, what are you really looking for? So
Yeah.
my favorite word in groups is collaborators. I'm looking for collaborators. That means I'm looking for people who are willing to share information with me, who are willing to be supportive, you know, of my ideas, people that I can learn from, and vice versa. So I'm looking for that exchange. Sometimes you can get into groups where everybody is very similar. We talked about maybe I've been in groups where all of us were business women. But in those groups, the not everybody was really supportive. It was like everyone was there really to try to enhance their own business. So people were getting information from you, but not really willing to share information. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that kind of leaves you feeling like, ooh.
Yeah. 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 I think you're hitting the nail on the head there, is that I like to think of it as selectively moving in silence. So you select who and what to share
Mm-hmm.
based on the person in front of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there will definitely be some groups that you know are going to be naysayers, no matter how clearly you've thought out your plans, no matter how clearly, no matter how much how desperately you want to achieve that goal. There's going to be certain people that you just shouldn't share it with because they're going to try and knock you down off of it. So finding your people, finding your group, finding your tribe, whatever you want to call it, of cheerleaders, of like-minded people who want to see other people succeed, is really important. And that's, I mean, I'm forever thankful that I found you as an accountability partner, because I can share the good and the bad with you, and I know I'm not going to be judged. I know that you're going to actually, if you don't have an answer for me at that moment, I know I'm going to get an email from you saying, have you thought of it from this perspective? You know, and those are the kind of people you need to find, to share your big goals and big dreams with. And you need to avoid just putting it out there for the whole world to look at because you really don't want all those naysayers talking in your head, because we all have that negative chatterbox, right, Tracy? And if
Yes.
you get a lot of people, we talked about this in the negativity thing, if you get a lot of people throwing negativity at you, your negative chatterbox is going to take over, and you're going to lose sight of your goals and your dreams, because you've allowed your negative chatterbox to listen to the negativity and to start telling you, oh, that could be too risky. Like, I don't think that's something you should be doing. So finding your tribe, finding an accountability, if you're not comfortable in groups, find a great accountability partner, right?
Mm. Yes,
Um,
you took the words right out of my mouth. If you're not
yeah, and
comfortable in a group or on your way to finding that group, start with one.
yeah,
Start looking for that one person, that you can truly connect to. I mean, before I found a great accountability partner, really I found three people on YouTube that I really connected with, and I listened, that I felt that when I listened to them, I felt inspired, and I felt like I was learning something from them, and they were definitely speaking my language. Sometimes my husband would come down to my office because I'm down here like a cheerleader going, yes, that's what I'm talking about. So
well, and that's
I
a
was just
perfect.
communicating with somebody on YouTube.
Yeah.
Uh, so
That's a perfect example of moving in silence, even though you're vocalizing your
yeah,
yeah, rah, rah,
exactly.
because
So,
it's giving you an
I
op.
connected with, people on YouTube, and then, I found a great accountability partner in you. I'm so thankful that we were, on that same path in the same program and got paired up together, because, it's just been really, really a great match. And, truthfully, and that's what you need. You need that person that's going to be, and then when you're not feeling good, and when you don't want to put your makeup on, and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff, because we experience those things, as well. But yeah, definitely. So when it comes to like oversharing in social media can be brutal, and I always say that social media has allowed um hot mama 123 exclamation mark to get on there and just say all kind of stuff that she would never say, or we don't even know if it's a she anyway.
Yeah.
But that people to get onto social media behind some disguised name and just say all this stuff to you, that I'm sure that they wouldn't say to you, if they were there in person. And then even more personally, when you're talking about our personal social media accounts, where we have, our Facebook, and, we have it's built with all of our friends on it, sharing stuff, and maybe they don't respond, or share, we get
Yeah.
too tied up in the likes and all of that type of thing, so when you're chasing your dreams and you have these goals, I sometimes, if you know that you have a group of people who are brutal like that, move in silence. When it's done, guess what? They'll know about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll
Yeah.
know about it once
Yeah.
it's done. And they can either just be totally quiet, or if you just feel like you need to share it with that group of people, they can be totally quiet, or they can celebrate you. But one thing for
Yeah.
sure, you will have already achieved the goal.
Yeah. I want to go back to your using YouTube. I think that's actually a great way to move in silence as you're building up your clarity about your goals and stuff. It's another, while you're not getting the direct feedback from them, they they can, those videos that really get you pumped up and stuff can be part of your tribe, and you're doing that in silence, you're doing that behind closed doors. People don't know that you've done that, but it's bringing you one step closer to being able to clearly state, yeah, I'm going to do this. And you've gotten that confidence partly from listening to mentors on YouTube. And so that's another great, um, a great tool to use as you're moving in silence to develop clarity of your goals before you make your announcements. I'm just curious what you think though about people say that you need to share your goals, you need to voice them out loud, you need to share them with the world, because if you don't, you're less likely to achieve them. What do you think about that?
Again, like I said, I do share my goals, but at this point, I have developed, my little inner circle is what I call it. And there's probably about 8 to 10 people in this circle that I know that I can go to them with absolutely everything. And so that kind of fulfills me, and with my need to share,
Yeah.
because I know that no matter what, these people, they are for me,
Yeah.
good, bad, ugly. These people are for me. And I have them in my phone labeled as the inner circle. So I
Yeah.
can hit that button and I can go into my inner circle and I can share everything. But what I say to that is, look, again, collaborating. That's what comes to mind.
Yeah.
Is look for those people that you can collaborate with, that you can get behind them, that you can support them. And you don't even have to like the same thing. It's really just a genuine interest in, pursuing your purpose and being
Yeah.
supportive of one another in doing that.
Yeah.
They could want to do basket weaving, and then you want to do, you want to go out and create world peace,
Yeah.
whatever it
Yeah.
is. Just the fact that you're moving forward and you're in this group. So I think that that's important.
Yeah, I think as you were saying that, I was thinking if you're the type of person that really feels the need to share your goals in order to achieve your goals, make sure if you're doing it on social media that you vet any groups that you join on social media. So, for example, if you want to lose 10 pounds and you want to announce to the world that you're going to lose 10 pounds, find a Facebook group that you spend some time making sure you can trust the content, making sure that you can trust the people in there to be, because ultimately in sharing your goals, whether it's weight loss, whether it's starting your own business, whether it's I want to get married and have babies, whatever your goals are, you're actually showing your vulnerability. You're actually sharing a very vulnerable spot of you with people. So make sure if you're doing it out on social media that you've vetted the support groups you're looking towards on social media. If you're doing it in person, it's a lot easier to do, quite frankly, because you know the people, right?
Right.
And so again, it's about building the right tribe for you, the right tribe for your goals as well. You wouldn't want to join a weight loss uh, group and announce, oh, I'm going to open a pastry shop, for example. It'd be
Exactly.
defeating the purpose, right?
Yes.
So yeah.
I was just getting ready to say that, is that, when we're utilizing social media, actually take a step back and decide, what is your intention? Like, why are you there in the
Yeah.
first place? If you're on there just for personal reasons, then certainly share things, within your own personal group. But if you're in there like for business, or like Rosalind said, or you have like some particular goal, if everyone around you is overweight, and you've decided, for instance, like I have been telling my husband, I really want to eat more vegetarian, meals. That normal group that I'm with, they might not want to hear about that. I actually have been telling my friends, I'll use this as an example. I've been telling my friends that I really want to go away to like this retreat where, we have spa treatments. That sounds good, right? But I told them I only want to eat like really good food. Like I want to have like this water that's supposed to be like really good for you, and really eat like fruits and vegetables, which I love fruits and vegetables in general. So it wouldn't be like a stretch for me, but I want to just
I've got the retreat for you.
yeah. So I'm like, I want to do something like that and walk out in nature. And even though I have my insider circle, I will say all of them have said leave them out. Said do not. So,
Yeah.
so sharing, even though that's, but I know that when I go on this, there's gonna be some people a little envious, but yeah, but they're like, leave them out of this. But I said that, just to kind of break things up and be a little funny, but that is true.
Yeah.
But be intentional when you're on social media so that that will help with your discernment on where to share your information.
Yeah.
Maybe your business ambitions, when you really aren't in a group of people who are entrepreneurial or business minded, those ambitions may be better placed in a private Facebook group or in a separate Facebook group that is composed of other people who are entrepreneurs. But even in those groups, like Rosalind said, take some time, introduce yourself to the group, but take some time before you start just sharing, going in there. Don't go in there on the first day. Hi, my name is Teresa and blue, 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 and I've traveled the world. I'm an international speaker. I'm a this, I'm a that. Don't go in there with all of that. Just go in there, introduce yourself, and see what's going on in the group, because I've become a part of some groups and they were just like some of the physical groups that I mentioned before, where really everybody was in there just for the sole purpose of growing their own business. And everybody every day was selling something, or, nobody's really trying to like share information. What I'm looking for is people who are willing to share information, support, one another, share information without charging you 15 grand for it. Like, where's a good printer? I don't need to pay you 15 grand to find out about a good printer, or publisher or whatever, that kind of thing. So yeah, be intentional. Think about what your intention is for being on social media, and that will help you with where to place your posts.
Yeah. And I mean, my advice, I guess, would be to stay silent until you find that group, until you find your tribe, because it does protect you from any potential backlash or negativity if you do move in silence at the beginning, and until you find your group, until you know that it's safe to be vulnerable and share your dreams and aspirations and goals with them. It's best to move in silence for a while. I think that, I mean, that's my personal preference.
And then while you're moving in silence, though, work on your inner confidence.
Yeah.
Because I think that, it's kind of one of those things that when you're on social media, I think that to some degree, all of us have to understand that negativity is kind of a part of that culture.
Yeah.
And, unless you have some private Facebook group where you kind of set out rules to say, be kind. If you make negative statements, you're going to be removed, so on and so forth, because a lot of groups do, have those, a lot of groups do have that. But, just understand, anytime you expose yourself to other people in any circumstance, whether it's in any media, whether it's on these television shows, a radio show, or out here in social media, that, there are people in the world who are just going to say negative things. It doesn't mean that it is true. It doesn't mean that it is not true. But if your internal compass, I call it, is forged with confidence, like Rosalind mentioned earlier, if you're really sure about, whatever it is, or, sometimes you can be sure about your idea, but you're also sure that it's a rough idea and it's not your final. And so it's okay for people to criticize it, and you're going to take whatever is said, as constructive criticism, no matter how brutal it is. Then that also, will help you.
Yeah, yeah. I think this has been a great discussion. I mean, there are a lot of pros and cons to moving in silence. And I think that for me, the idea is to be selective about it. Um, but don't be totally silent, like you said, because the con would be that you don't leave yourself open to opportunities to collaborate or opportunities to learn from other people's mistakes and to take advice. So moving in silence provides you with great opportunities to come forward with confidence, but it also can um, help can make you lose out on other opportunities because you have been too scared to share your goals and dreams and aspirations.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, like Rosalind said, this has been a great conversation. I hope that you have enjoyed this episode and have gotten some helpful tips that you can implement today to help you to inch you further towards your goals by moving in silence. Our takeaway from today is that really it can be awesome to move in silence, but at the end of the day, move. That's the key. Keep moving. All right. So thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you will be back to join us for our next episode. We appreciate all of your comments. So if you have some tips that have helped you or things that you can add to this conversation, please, if you're on our YouTube channel, which is Relentless Transitions, please leave a comment. And otherwise, you can send us an email at relentlesstransitions@gmail.com. Thank you so much. See you next time.
Thanks for listening, everyone.